All right, good afternoon, everybody. And today we're going to spruce up the little campsite here a little bit. I got this really old rotten cloth or tarp. I'm going to put it on the old A-frame there, so stick with me and we'll get right to it. All right, first thing we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and clear some of this old stuff off. So we're going to have our tarp. We're not necessarily going to need all this stuff that we threw on there previously. Whew, that's it. Let's get on the other side. We'll try to leave that material down here at the very bottom as much as I can, because that will definitely help keep air from slipping in at the bottom. So let's come off his rest. It's decently still all intact, so not too hateful. Okay. Now this is, like I said, it's a pretty old ratty tarp. It's not in the greatest of shape. We definitely got some holes, but that's nothing some duct tape can't fix. So we'll get this on, and then we'll examine it and kind of see what work we got to do to it. So I want enough. Yeah, that'll close up nicely. Definitely a lot of damage to that tarp. Okay. Get you guys a better look. Whoop, there we go. So yeah, there's a bit of damage there. However, like I said, duct tape will fix most of that. If needs be too. If you want to decrease the size of the shelter, probably double that over itself, and that would take care of most of that too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull some of this out that we already had in there. Cover it back up. Like I said, this is just an old damaged tarp that I'm recycling. So ultimately, I'm not too worried about doing any little bit of damage to it while I'm out here doing this. Because at this juncture, the tarp itself is pretty well spent, for lack of a better word. So instead of throwing it away, I'm going to try to give it a second life as part of a shelter. Yeah, now I'm going to do a lot of the same over here. Get this cleared out enough to get slid down in there. Now we can reuse this piece. That'll hold that down. And that'll help a lot with, we get, some wind and stuff like that from trying to rip it up off there. And the same as before. Just going to cover this back up. That's going to help seal any gaps at the bottom. Give it a little bit more insulation, which will help out a lot. All right, we got that on there. I'm debating on just leaving it as is. I may put duct tape on it later, but for now, I think it'll be fine. The important thing is I want to try to get a little more done here before winter actually sets in and we get snow. Time is pretty tight. I was really wanting to put walls and like something like sending like a roof on top of this thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that done. I'm going to do maybe a little bit on that today. Try to get some smaller diameter stuff cut here. It'll be on this video here. So here in just a minute, I'm just taking a little break. I might get to doing some of that, but for the most part, this is this is going to take a lot of time to do the shelter like I wanted. So I don't know if I'll get it done like I wanted, but I'm going to give it a try. Now I do got a lot of these old boys laying here. Some are pretty rotten, but some may actually be usable. So these maybe get drug out. Now I'll use what I can out of these because that's a lot of trees already down and potentially be used. Save me a lot of work. Precarious to get to, but might be able to get that one free. Pretty decent size. What do we got here? Maybe. Fell out of the way. They seem pretty secure. There we go. Definitely not straight, but fill in the gaps with something that's a decent sized piece This would be really as big as necessary. This would be really all I would need. Well, like everything, this area right in front of us, close by the actual camp, would be an ideal staging ground. But as you can see, I'd have to clean it up. So might just have to go do that first, unfortunately. Because this right here is actually, this is, I'm in focus here, a large pile of material I took out of there. We will see. This stuff over here really needs cleaned out. Maybe a thing to do. A lot of briars in there, unfortunately. This is a decent piece here. Looks like we'll have to cut her off up top here. About here-ish, I'd say. So basically, yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of that. It's just going to be a lot of cutting, and depending on what tool you use, if you're going to stick with a handsaw, it's going to take quite a while. So, you know, that's also part of the process of if I'm wanting to do it that way. You know, getting the time to actually do it. So, but once it's done, we'll have a good prime example of what we could say a survival shelter versus a more like a base camp style shelter, where you've had a lot of bigger tools that you could actually use to make something more substantial. Now, typically, let's say you got to that area, you may actually have to make the survival shelter to have a place to get out of the elements while you're constructing the more beefier base camp kind of shelter, where you're actually cutting down small trees, and you're actually going to build something with actual proper walls and roof and the like. So that'd be nice to have once it is finished. Then everybody can really get a good idea of the main difference with basically the survival shelter we've already seen multiple times already. I pretty much did that primarily with a little Victorinox pocket knife about that big with a little saw and all. Took me several hours to get it done, but that was just with a tiny little pocket knife. You had bigger proper tools, didn't take near as long. Well, I know that don't seem like a whole lot, but that took a little while to get. But where this location is, there's a very small flat, and then it's all extremely steep hills. So some of those I had to go a long ways for. Then, of course, I was looking for some that needed cut anyway, so I didn't take really healthy trees out from here. It's just basically I'm trying to keep it down to ones that need coppice to begin with. Well, guys, wasn't too exciting of a video, but it's just with this, it's a lot of just work, getting everything collected to actually start to do something, because there's a lot of prep work that is going to go into a bigger project. Ideally, I would like to have this shelter here that I'm working on to be adequate enough for me to actually stand upright in. So now I'm going to need a little bit of extra head space. So minimum, we're looking at like probably 6.5 feet at the absolute very minimum, being that I'm about 6'4". So I probably actually want to make it 6'8" to 7 feet high, which will be a lot more work. But now keep in mind, this isn't so much as an emergency survival kind of shelter thing that we're working on with the area where the bed frame is. What this is more like a base camp kind of build kind of thing we're doing here. So I want something a bit nicer, that's got a little more room in it. Now I can even if I'd prefer to keep the bed as wide as it is, but I can actually bring that in. I could remove one board, redo it if I need the extra space. But with this, I do believe one thing I'm really going to need in there, probably some shelving. Want to try for the door and the window or two, and then maybe something in there for be able to burn wood. Whether I get one of those rims that I got that I've turned into outside wood burning stoves, or maybe I go to the trouble of making up some kind of mortar and using stone. We'll see. Obviously, like I said, time's always going to be a factor because it's just the way it is. But as things stand now, I can't promise you I'm going to get this done. I mean, it's just going to be one of them deals where I'm just going to chip away at it. So, but I appreciate y'all for watching. Hopefully, I can get something pumped out that's a little more exciting for you guys. But with that, I'll see y'all in their video.